Namaste. So today we're going to talk about the fundamentals of Ayurveda and learn what is Ayurveda and how you can implement it into your daily routine. So let's start with the definition. So Ayur means life and Veda means science. And so Ayurveda means the science of life or the knowledge of life. And it's a beautiful science where everything related to life has been written down. It's not just a medical science. Obviously there is a huge part that is the medical science and treatment of diseases, but there is another side which is the prevention of disease or how to stay healthy and happy for a long time. So these are the two objectives of Ayurveda: how to have a healthy and happy life as long as possible, so basically to die young for as long as possible, and then secondly obviously to cure any imbalances or disease you may have. And so this science has been written down 5,000 years ago, but the principles are still relevant today, and these principles are universal and they can be applied by anyone, anytime. So there are three main books called the Charak Samhita, the Ashtang Hridayam and the Shushruta Samhita. These are considered the three main books where all the science of Ayurveda that we know of today has been derived of. And so Ayurveda has one great theory called the Panch Kosha, and I want to talk about that before we go into the elements and the doshas. And so the Panch Kosha is the concept that our human being has different aspects or different layers. So obviously it's not just the physical body, but it's also the mind and the soul. And it goes beyond that. It says that we have actually 5 layers into our being. So first layer is Annamaya Kosha, and that's the physical body made out of the food we eat. Then we have Pranamaya Kosha, which is the vital or energy body, the body of prana or the life force. And then we have Manomaya Kosha, which is the mental body, so basically our mind. Then Vijnanamaya Kosha, our intellect, our wisdom. And then Anandamaya Kosha, which is the blissful body, where there's only bliss, pure love and joy. And then we have the Atma, which is our soul. And that is the core of our self. Ayurveda defines ourself as the soul, which has a body and which has a mind, which has the 5 senses. So that's the definition. And so it doesn't look at just the physical aspect, which is actually only 20% of our being, but it also looks into all the other aspects. So it helps us with the treatment of diseases and imbalances as well, because if we look at the first layer, the physical body, that's made out of the food we eat, okay, so that can be cured by changing our diet. And what about the energy body, Pranamaya Kosha? What about the mind body? And all these have different treatments. Like then there is connection with nature, there's meditation, there's mantra, there's a yoga, and all these will help into to work on the different layers of our body. So now that we've defined what our self is, what the self is, then we can look at the definition of health in Ayurveda. And modern science usually defines this as the absence of disease, but Ayurveda has a very detailed definition. It says that the doshas needs to be in a balanced state. We're going to talk about the doshas in a bit. Then the Agni, which is a unique concept in Ayurveda. Agni is our digestive fire, especially the Jaఠragni, and that is the key to our health, and we'll just see it later on. Then the dhatus are the tissues, the 7 tissues that constitute our body. They need to be in a balanced state as well. Then we have the malas, the eliminations. The 3 main malas are stools, urine and sweat. And everything obviously we eat from the mouth needs to come out. So elimination is also as important as the food we eat. So if we don't eliminate daily, then we accumulate toxins, and that leads to disease in Ayurveda. And so then we need the indriyas, the 5 senses, in a joyful state. Then we need our mind to be in a happy state. And finally, our atma, our soul, needs to be in a blissful and peaceful state. And so health is the complete harmony of all aspects of our being. And so now we gonna talk about the Pancha Mahabhuta, which is the basic theory, the main theory in Ayurveda. And if you understand that, you will understand the doshas and basically everything. So in Ayurveda, we believe that the whole universe has been made out of 5 elements. And so when the Big Bang happened, so there was ether, which is space. Then with movement started air. Then there was friction, and then that created fire, and that became more denser and liquid, and it became water, and it became even more dense and concrete, and it became earth. And these 5 elements constitute everything that's in the universe, including ourselves. So we are also made out of those 5 elements, but in different proportions. So someone may have more fire in them, someone may have more earth in them, someone may have more air in them. And so these 5 elements have been kind of derived into 3 main energies, and they are called the doshas: vata, pitta and kapha. So vata is the combination of ether and air, and then pitta is the combination of fire and water, and kapha is the combination of water and earth. And we're going to discuss about these doshas now in detail. And so the vata person out of, as we said, air and ether, and the qualities of these elements are cold, dry, mobile and light. And it's someone very creative, who has an artistic taste, who has a vision, who talks a lot. There's a lot of movement. Vata is the principle of movement, really. And so it's always on the go, always talking, always doing something. It's someone who is basically in movement all the time. And so they like to travel, they like to move around, they have loads of energy, and they jump from one project to another without finishing them all. And so they are the most prone to be imbalanced because of these very light and subtle elements of air and ether. They are the most susceptible to get imbalanced. And so the causes of imbalance are if you basically increase the qualities of like cold, dry, mobile and light, this will cause an imbalance. So anything dry, cold, like dry fruits, raw foods, uncooked foods or cold foods will increase vata. Even the weather, cold and dry weather, especially winter and autumn, may with the increase in cold may imbalance vata. Anything that's irregular, like an irregular routine, waking up at different times, sleeping at different times, eating at different times, will increase vata. Then obviously a lot of movement, like commuting a lot or traveling a lot or being always on the go, never have a stable place, that will increase vata as well. And so the symptoms of an excess of vata is having dryness in your body. So it shows up as dry skin, dry hair. When you have dryness in your joints, they crack, so you can hear them. The air element is also, vata is also seated in the colon. That's the main seat of vata. And so you may have gas or bloating, which is the air element, in your tummy. Pain is also a symptom of vata. And so specifically lower back pain is a symptom. Depletion, so when you don't have any stability or any nourishment, you feel depleted very quickly. So they are usually, vata people are very slim, very active, and quite nervous. They can't stay, if there is an imbalance, they can't stay still, like they always have to move, or move their legs, or move something and touch their hair, always like that. And mentally they can suffer from insomnia, so because they have racing thoughts, they think so much as well, they're always overthinking, over worrying, that they struggle to kind of calm their mind. So they struggle to sleep. They are easily tired and fatigued because they don't have the reserves, they don't have the fat and the energy to keep on going, and they feel isolated, lonely. Anxiety is also a sign of excess vata. So now, how to balance vata? So we've learned that cold, dry, light and subtle are the qualities of vata. Now, to balance vata, we will use the exact opposite qualities, which are warm, oily, regular and heavy. And so anything like warm weather or warm food is going to calm vata down. So cooked food is really key, adding, because there's a lot of dryness in vata, you're going to add loads of healthy fats, like sesame oil is the key ingredient in calming down vata, both internally and externally. So you're going to cook with sesame oil. Actually, sesame oil is good for all the doshas. It has a slightly warming quality, so perhaps for pitta, in summer where it can be aggravated, you can use other oils like coconut oil, but it's really good for vata and kapha, sesame oil. So always invest in good organic sesame oil for your cooking and avoid all the vegetable oil and random oils that are highly processed, that you find in supermarkets, because fats are really, really important. Vata is also the dosha that increases with age. So if you want to basically age gracefully, you have to calm the vata down as well. And we also live in an age where we are always moving, you see, because vata is the principle of movement, and we're always on the go, we're always working, commuting, doing. We live in the world in the age of doing, instead of being in the age of being. We are always on the go. So vata is usually imbalanced in many of us. So calming down vata is really key. And so coming back to the healthy fats are one of the key things to calm vata down. Sesame oil key. If you don't suffer from cholesterol or diabetes, you should always have like a teaspoon of ghee in all your meals, for all doshas, I would say. Perhaps a little bit less for kapha, but vata and pitta always need to have ghee, because ghee is considered the top elixir in Ayurveda. So also for the diet, we need to favor sweet, sour and salty tastes, and eat nourishing foods like root vegetables, soups, wheat. So always include that, because vata gets easily depleted and they need to have regular meals, and even sometimes snacks in between the meals, like you can have a banana or some soaked dry fruits like almonds and walnuts and cashew nuts. Make sure they're soaked, because then you can digest them easily. And also eating in the environment, in a peaceful environment, is important. Focusing on your food whilst you eat will help you to digest it better. And in terms of lifestyle, obviously because vata is very irregular, that's one of the qualities of vata, we need to kind of ground it into a more regular routine and regular lifestyle. So waking up times, sleeping times and meal times are the times you really need to have like regular. And massage is also the key to pacifying vata. So massaging at least 3 times a week will be really good for you. Keeping warm, so especially in a cold weather, you have to make sure you wear something on your head, your ears are also the seats of vata. Anywhere there is emptiness in your body, there is vata can be imbalanced. So ears, there is a lot of cavities into the ears, so you can get cold from the ears, so make sure you cover your ears. You can actually even put a little bit of sesame oil drops into your ears if you have excess of vata. Then walking in nature, especially the earth, connecting with the earth element, which is the most grounding of the elements. Walking bare feet in the grass will really help you, and avoid loads of travel, loads of commute, and loads of intense workout and physical exercises. And so it's because we need to slow down. Vata will need to slow down because it's the movement. Vata, when you think of vata, we think of movement, and so slowing down is the key also to restoring excess vata. Deep breathing, so slow deep breaths with your belly breathing is really key. Then you can also do alternate nostril breathing like Anulom Vilom, which actually balances our feminine and our masculine, our solar and our lunar energies. And walking is also a good physical exercise, and slow gentle yoga are good exercises for vata. Now the pitta person. How is pitta? So pitta is fire and water, but the element of fire is more dominant. So if you think of fire, you quickly think of, okay, it's hot, it burns, it's sharp, it's light, and because of the water element, it's slightly oily. And so in a balanced state, pitta people are very ambitious, very organized, perfectionist. They're smart, they're intelligence, because intelligence is related to the fire element. They're very friendly, they're warm people, and they have a very, they're good orators, they're speakers, they can charm people, they are leaders, they can convince people with their, charisma. And so they are CEOs, managers, leaders, politicians on high positions. And so, but they can be imbalanced with a lot of competitivity, a lot of stress, a lot of ambition, a lot of stressful and active lifestyle, because they can quickly become workaholic. And also fiery elements like alcohol, which is very strong. Caffeine is also very heating. So these can cause imbalance in pitta. And so how does that translate physically? It translates as sensations of heat in your body, typically like heartburns, acid reflux. Any type of inflammation is pitta related, is an excess of fire. Acne is also an inflammatory condition. Eczema, psoriasis, all these are typically pitta imbalances. Skin rashes, hemorrhoids, diarrhea or loose stools, ulcers, acidity, all these are symptoms of excess pitta. And mentally it can translate as anger, jealousy, envy, someone who's OCD because they need everything right around them. They become irritable, they can be very critical and judgmental, and even controlling and manipulative. And so how to balance pitta? We've seen the qualities is hot, sharp, oily, and so we need the opposite of that, is cool, sweet and slow. And so with your diet you need to favor cooling but yet nourishing foods. They have a very strong appetite. They get really hungry easily, and so they need to have regular meals at regular timings, and they need to favor sweet, bitter and astringent tastes. Green foods are really nice and cooling, and again eating in a peaceful environment is really important, and avoiding all the spicy, especially red chilies and fried foods and caffeine, meat, alcohol, which are all very heating for pitta. So in terms of lifestyle, slowing down is going to be key, because the fire element goes along with vata. If you have an excess of fire, what happens is that you burn out very quickly. So you need to slow down again, and you can meditate, you can do some gentle regenerative yoga. You can also focus on when you can be easily triggered, you have a short temper, so you can focus on deep breathing each time you feel triggered. The opposite of fire is water, so spending time with water elements like a flowing river, even listening to the sounds of waves, or river flowing, and all these sounds before, like you go to bedtime, that can be very helpful. Staying cool and calm, taking time to have a break, like pitta people always want to overwork, so they eat in front of their laptops and computers and they quickly do and start working again. No, take a break, go out in nature, have a pause, just clear out your mind. So having regular breaks is really important. Again, avoiding intense physical exercise and workouts, because they all heat up your body and your mind. And pitta people can also be a little bit selfish, so doing selfless actions and volunteering is also very good for them. Now the kapha person is someone with water and earth element, is someone who is stable, moist, cold, heavy and dense. These are the qualities of these elements, and they are very loving people. They're very quiet, calm, stable, nurturing, and they have careers like being a nurse, where they actually are very they are open to listening and taking care of you. They have a very motherly nature. They are laid back, they chill, they don't get stressed out easily. They're patient, they're very loyal. They have long relationships, they're consistent, and they may be a bit slow, but they always finish their things, their projects and work. But because they can be easily imbalanced by heavy food, very rich, dense calorie rich foods, sweet, like sugary cakes and stuff like that. Overeating causes kapha imbalance. Oversleeping, because sleep is very stable and dense. So oversleeping causes excess kapha. Lack of exercise and movement, because you can see the elements of water and earth don't move a lot. So also cool and wet climates, like spring is the typical kapha. Even in winter, where there's a lot of rain or snow, can increase kapha. A lack of variety, a lack of change can increase kapha as well. So it translates into the physical, like weight gain. People with excess kapha are always a bit chubby, but they can easily gain weight without eating too much. Sometimes they have a tendency to gain weight easily. Water retention, congestion is a typical sign of kapha. Like kids are in the kapha phase of their life, then in the adulthood is pitta, you have the fire to do things in life, and then the vata, where you start aging. So kids who are in their growth element, they need heavy, dense, rich food to grow, and you know, stretch your bones and your muscles to grow. And so they tend to get congestion a lot. So congestion is top symptoms of kapha. It can be congestion over the lungs, sinuses and nose blocked and ears blocked, and especially the head and upper chest region is the seat of kapha. So that tends to get congested a lot. Feelings of heaviness and feeling lethargy, like you've eaten too much, you don't want to do things, you don't feel hungry a lot, because your agni, your digestive fire is kind of slow and low, so it doesn't burn. You don't digest that easily, and kapha people tend to have the most toxins because their digestive fire doesn't burn, so you don't digest foods easily, so you accumulate toxins very easily. So kapha people are the ones who need to detox more often than vata and pitta. Swelling and puffiness are also symptoms of kapha. Then mentally you can feel sluggish, like, oh, you can't think right, you just want to lie down and sleep, and then you struggle to change because you have the qualities of earth, which is like very dense and stable, and they struggle to move on to the next thing. They get very attached and possessive. There's stubbornness, there's greed, there's passiveness, and laziness in kapha, imbalanced kapha. So how to balance kapha now? So we've seen the qualities of kapha is cold, wet, moist and stable and dense. Now to balance it, we need the opposite qualities like warm, light, dry and mobile. So 4 qualities that we need to apply in our diet and our lifestyle. So favor light, easy to digest and cooked foods, because your digestive fire is not strong. You're going to help it with light and cooked foods, and like you can have some stir-fried veggies, or even a little bit of favoring warm teas to kind of detox. Especially ginger lemon tea is really good for you. Ginger is going to burn all the excess kapha. Lemon is going to detoxify, and honey is the key ingredient to burn the kapha away. It has warming qualities, so it's going to burn all the excess kapha in your body. So sipping on ginger lemon tea throughout the day is helpful, but not too much as well, because then you can have water retention. But 2-3 cups a day is really good for you. And always favoring warm teas, and obviously not drinking cold water at all. Generally, as a rule in Ayurveda, we don't drink cold liquids, any type of liquids, whether it's cold milk or cold water. It's not advised, especially in cold weather. You can have like room temperature water in summer, for example, but otherwise in all other seasons it's nice to have warm teas, because the qualities of water is like heavy and cold, and so once you boil the water it becomes light and more easily digestible. When cold water can take 3 hours to digest, I think warm water, boiled water, will take you half the time. So let's just say 1.5 hours to digest. But water cooked with herbs like ginger, or the CCF tea like cumin, coriander, fennel tea, will actually take you 30 minutes to digest. So digestion is the key to your health. So anything that's easily digestible, just go for that. And avoiding heavy foods, meat, because meat is very difficult to digest. Wheat is difficult to digest. Sugar, dairy, all these things, especially if you have excess kapha, you need to avoid them. And then adding a bit of variety into your foods is also good, because kapha needs variety. You're not having the same old foods every day. Lifestyle. Now, because you have the qualities of kapha, which is very slow moving thing, you need to spice it up. Yeah, in terms of diet as well, you need to add spices in all your meals. Spices is key. Every spice except salt is beneficial for kapha. And in terms of lifestyle, coming back to that, exercising daily is really good to move your kapha and burn it up. And waking up but before the sunrise. If probably it will be probably before 6 o'clock. If you can wake up before that time, then you need to create mental and physical stimulation to get rid of that heaviness, and listen to enliving music and some fast music to just feel like dancing or moving around. Dry massage with Uptan powder is really nice, because then Uptan powder just burns the kapha on your skin and kind of is very dynamic and stimulating. So doing that before you go for a shower is really nice, especially in spring where you need to detox. Detoxing is really key for kapha. Every spring, or I would say twice a year minimum for kapha. And for the rest, vata and pitta, you need to have like a proper detox, like 10-day detox every spring, spring and autumn, because that's where all the season transition. It goes from winter to summer, and that's the spring. And then for autumn as well, it goes from summer to winter. So these transitions are where you actually accumulate a lot of toxins. So it's the best times to detox. And so in terms of exercising, anything that is dynamic is good for kapha. Vigorous yoga or something heating and stimulating is good, like jogging or cycling or anything like that. Yeah, dancing, hiking are all good exercises for kapha. Now let's look at why we need to integrate Ayurveda into our lives and why it's absolutely unique. It's the oldest science in the world, and it has beautiful principles that are unmatched to any other sciences. And so the first thing is that Ayurveda is personalized science. We've seen that the doshas are very different. Every person is different and every person is unique. So the approach to any person treatment protocol will be unique to them. Secondly, we will focus on treating the root cause. So why, for example, you have acne, is going to go and dig deep into the cause of your acne, for example. Then okay, there's too much fire, there's too much heat into your body, you're eating spicy foods, fried foods every day or every other day, and that's causing the fire. Then you have also a little bit of toxins accumulated with daytime sleeping or eating a lot of cheese and dairy, and that has created toxins. And then the mix of these excess pitta and toxins has created those acne. So that's going to it's going to look into why it's created that and work onto that diet and lifestyle, right? And it's not just going to say, okay, use this product and that will cure your acne. And so modern science just suppresses the symptoms instead of looking at the root cause, and Ayurveda just does the opposite. And that approach may take longer, but it's much more effective on the long run. And so Ayurveda focuses on prevention and maintenance of health. As we've seen that there's two objectives in Ayurveda. The first is maintenance of good health for as long as possible, and the second is treatment. And we usually always think about treating the problem when it arises, whereas Ayurveda says, like, why do you need to wait for a problem to come up? Just lead a healthy life and then you'll be fine, So, but how to lead a healthy life? What are the healthy habits? Ayurveda has a detailed approach in everything. There's a whole section called Swasthavrita, which is good health at any age, basically. And then we have this whole section called Dincharya, daily routine, and that is the key to maintaining good health. And then, as we've seen, that Ayurveda doesn't think that, okay, you just take a pill, you just take a herb and that's going to cure the problem. No, it has different approaches, and diet and lifestyle are going to be the first treatment aspects of the first line of treatments. And so you'll need to work on all of these if you want to have a healthy life. And so Ayurveda also believes that we are one with nature. It says, Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande. Everything that's in the cosmos is in us, and everything that's in us is in the cosmos. So we are one. We're connected to nature. And in the modern time, we've kind of have been more and more disconnected. And so that has created a disharmony between nature and us, and that is that can be a cause of disease and imbalance in our life, not just physical, but more on the subtle aspects like the mind, the emotions, the intellect, and even our soul. And so in this program, we're going to work on 5 approaches, and these approaches is like how you can implement Ayurveda into your daily routine. So first is diet, okay, we've seen that. Then second is lifestyle, then yoga, then massage, then the herbs. Yeah, so all these 5 things work in conjunction together as a holistic treatment protocol. One will not give you, good enough results. You may have a little bit of results, but they're not going to be long lasting. You need to combine all these elements to have a proper healthy life, and this requires discipline. Ayurveda is initially, when you start working or applying Ayurveda into your life, you will need a little bit of discipline and self-control. But once you implement it, after 21 days of applying all these things into your life, this will become a way of life, and it will be natural for you. And so, but initially you will require that discipline and working on yourself. And so let's start with the diet. So diet is one of the 3 pillars in Ayurveda. So the first is diet, then sleep, then brahmacharya, which is celibacy, which basically means management of desires. So diet is probably the first and the most practical approach to implementing Ayurveda into your life. Ayurveda says you are what you eat, you are what you digest. So digestion depends on our Jaఠragni, our digestive fire. And so this Agni is key to our health, and our health depends on our Agni, and our disease also may be caused by a lack of proper strong fire. So you need to have a nice, strong and balanced Agni to be healthy. And so how to do that? There are, I would say, few rules that you can apply. First of all, the symptom of a good Agni is your appetite, how hungry you get. And so that you have to wait until you feel the hunger in your tummy, that it starts rumbling. It means the gastric juices are starting to flow, and that means that every food you eat will be digested properly. So always wait for hunger to happen, so then you can digest properly. The second rule is obviously to favor homemade food. Why homemade? Because Ayurveda believes that all the emotions whilst you cook the energies will go into the food you're cooking. So always be in a positive mindset when you cook your food, and that's why we favor the homemade, because we don't know in restaurants how they're made. The employees may not be happy to be working there, and they're just angry and annoyed and complaining whilst cooking your fries, for example. And so that kind of energies will not be good for your mind, because Ayurveda also says that there is consciousness in food, and the food we eat also affects our vibrations and our energetic levels. So yeah, homemade food. Then warm. Why warm? Because it's easy to digest, simple as that, compared to cold food. And mildly spiced meals. So mildly spiced, favoring spices like cumin, coriander, ginger are all very good to help you digest properly. And then the third rule is probably the hardest to apply, is stop eating before you're fully satisfied. So what happens is that you have to imagine the stomach divided into 3 parts. So the first part should be filled with liquids. So it can be something like soups, or a little bit of sips of warm water, or even some buttermilk. And then second part should be filled with solids like wheat, rice, dal, lentils, beans, etc. And the third part should be empty. Why empty? Because if you imagine the digestive fire, it needs a space element to work properly. You can visualize a candle. If you put something on top of it, it will die. It needs the oxygen, it needs the space to breathe, and then it will be nice and lit. So the same for your digestive fire. It needs that kind of emptiness and space to digest properly. Now coming into lifestyle, the section about Dincharya in Ayurveda is the key to maintaining a good health. And the principles of Dincharya is basically you follow the movements of the sun. You wake up before the sunrise, which is called the Brahma Muhurt, and that is the time of Brahma. Brahma is the creator of the universe, and he basically, it's the most positive and auspicious time of the day, where you study, where you meditate, where you pray to the divine, and any good thing that you want to create, you start in the morning. And starting the day early is going to be the key to a successful life as well, generally. And then when the sun is at the highest, our digestive fire is also the highest. It is in direct correlation to the sun. So you can digest properly, you can have wheat then, you can like digest more food than the evening, where the sun goes down and you need to have a lighter meal. And then the second key pillar in Ayurveda is sleep, which is probably more important than even the diet, because you can actually survive without eating food, but you cannot survive without sleep. And sleep, we all know that is the most of the regeneration and healing that happens is during sleep. But not only the physiological aspects, but also the subtle aspects, like your immune system, your hormonal balance. If you want to lose weight, then you have to sleep properly. Like if you have thyroid problem or hair fall, your hair grows actually during sleep. Your skin regenerates during sleep. The liver starts detoxifying during sleep. So the liver is a key organ for detoxing. So all that detoxification happens when you start sleeping at the right time, and that happens in the deepest of your sleep cycle. So the deep sleep happens between the time of even like 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. And so sleeping early is going to be the number one thing that you will have to start applying from today. There is no pill that can replace the regeneration and healing of sleep. And if you remember anything from this video, you probably need to remember sleep is the key to your health. Yeah. And then so the third aspect we're going to talk about is yoga. So when we think of yoga, we usually think of the physical aspect of it, like the asanas, the postures, the pranayamas, the breath work. But the true meaning of yoga is union with the divine. It means how to reconnect, how to link yourself with the divine. And so we're going to talk about both of these aspects. So starting with yoga, on a physical aspect, yoga is probably the best physical exercise you can have. And I would highly recommend you join a yoga practice on a weekly basis. And if you have an excess of vata and pitta, you really need a slow and regenerative practice instead of a like intense cardio thing, or even intense yoga like Bikram yoga or hot yoga. And so that will really help in rebalancing vata and pitta. And then in terms of the other more spiritual aspect, reconnecting with the divine is one of the objectives of Ayurveda. It says that there are four objective for any person's life. So the first is Kam, Arth, Dharma and Moksha. Kam is the desire, Arth is the prosperity, like you need to earn money, you need to work. Then Dharma, you need to do your duty, you take upon your responsibilities. And finally, Moksha is the liberation of the soul, right? So how can you liberate your soul? That is the key of yoga. And through meditation, through reconnection with nature, through bhakti yoga, all these are very important aspects. So including spirituality in your life will be really helpful to be completely fulfilled, because self-care is not just about, or being healthy is not just about, putting some nice oil where it does help, or putting some masks or having a bath is good. It's not going to make you healthy. True fulfillment, true happiness comes with yoga, union with the divine. So yeah, number 4 is massage. So massage, as we've seen, is the key to balance vata, but also the key to remain young as long as possible. So massages are included in every treatment protocol in Ayurveda, in your dincharya, in your daily routine, but also in the panchakarma as part of a preparation for detoxing. So they are there's only 2 ways you can detox, like on a daily basis. First is physical exercise, and second is massage. Because it activates your lymphatic system, it actually helps you to detox any toxins accumulated over time and in your body through the movement, so it nourishes. And skin is also an underused organ or way of consumption. We only think the mouth, we can nourish through the mouth, through the foods we eat. But skin is the biggest organ that we have in our body, and it's completely underused and it's completely misused. Misused because we actually apply a lot of toxins and chemicals in our body. Like women apply up to 200 toxic chemicals on their bodies through makeup, through skincare, through soaps, shampoos, personal care products. And so that's one of the reasons why I've created my beauty brand, is that I wanted women to take in charge their health through their skincare, through their skin, basically, through the care of their skin. Because you can nourish your tissues, your organs, your bones, your muscles through good oils. And so that's why we say that everything you put on your skin should be eatable, edible. So the same way you eat food, it needs to be the same. Like you need to have oils that you can eat. And so all the ingredients that I use in my products are all edible, are completely natural and non-toxic. There's nothing that you cannot eat, basically. I wouldn't recommend you to eat any of the products, but yeah, that's the reason why I've created, because I wanted to find a truly non-toxic skincare and hair care. And so I would highly recommend like using a good quality oil for your daily massage. Like the one I have, Sundari Rose Body Oil, is a beautiful, nourishing, yet it absorbs very nicely into the skin, and make that part of your routine. If you can't do it, every day. Do it 2 to 3 times a week. That's going to be very, very good to have a healthy, soft and supple skin, but also nourished body. And so warm oil is the best because it absorbs deeper into the tissues. And make sure you apply the oil before going to the shower, because water and soap are drying. They can dry out your skin, but if you've applied oil and you leave it for like 10 minutes, you can do your yoga practice, or you can move around, or even leave it a few minutes before you jump into your shower. That helps the skin to absorb the oil, go deeper into the tissues, and then you won't feel any dryness. And so I've created a very nice skincare routine. So first of all, starting with Pavitra cleansing oil. So cleansing oil is better because it doesn't strip your skin from the moisture, because it's oil based, and it has a natural emulsifier, so it doesn't it's not like soap which is drying. And then Kumari serum is aloe vera based. Aloe vera, we're gonna talk about it later, but it's one of the key rasayanas that's really good for women's health, and it's very rejuvenating, so it helps you to age gracefully. And then a third step is to apply the glow drops to kind of lock the moisture in. You can also use, instead of the Kumari serum, use a toner like rose water and then apply the glow drops, and then you'll have a nourished and glowing skin all year round. And lastly, to finish off, the fifth approach is the herbs. So when I talk about, when I say to people, okay, I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, they think always, oh, she's just gonna give me herbs and I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna start taking them, probably ignore the diet and lifestyle advice and just go with the herbs. But then you're not gonna get the results you need. Herbs are only here to support. They are part of an equation that has like 5 different things, and so herbs are only given for your body to regain balance. So you can take them for a limited amount of time, but then your body is intelligent enough to continue on its own. Don't make them dependent on the herbs. Especially one of the herbs that's the most misused and become a trend is ashwagandha. People take ashwagandha, shatavari anywhere, anytime. So you have to look into the contraindications of each herbs as well. Usually, I mean, Ayurvedic herbs are harmless and obviously natural, but there are some contraindications. For example, ashwagandha, if you have toxins in your body, it may actually increase your toxin level. So it can actually work against you on the long run. So you should always consult a practitioner before starting any herb. So that's it. I hope you've understood from this video that Ayurveda is not just simply herbs you take. It's a full-fledged holistic approach that includes diet, lifestyle, yoga, massage and herbs.